What is the core analysis your analytics practice should be performing that will make them successful? Does that question make sense?
It does, and I think I may expand it a little bit because this is a conversation that I'm having with a client right now, and I think the starting point that maybe some of us start at and we lose sight of it, but I think a lot of us don't even start at because we want to run before we crawl and walk is what is our data distribution strategy, or what are the different layers of how we leverage data should we be looking at. And I think that this is where so many teams that are focused on output get themselves into trouble, is they don't define that, and what ends up happening is they become order takers. Because we don't have a defined data distribution kind of hierarchy, then everything is an ad hoc one-off request, and we get overwhelmed and burdened with requests, and it becomes unsustainable. And so as I talk to companies, I advise them on kind of setting their hierarchy of data output needs. And at the basic level, we have like basic reporting. What reports do we need to have available and easily accessible? Who is going to access those, and on what cadence? Is it something that they can get all the time? Is it something that is packaged and mailed out weekly? What does that excuse me, foundational layer look like? The next layer up starts to blend and get closer to analysis is, okay, well, what sorts of things are, not quite analysis, but not quite reporting? What sorts of things need a little bit of an eyeball on it to make some commentary about the data? A little bit more than this metric went up or this metric went down, but this metric went up because we had a campaign last week. So what does that look like? And what are the core pieces of information that need to be distributed in the business? And again, who's consuming it and at what cadence? And that can be dashboards, that could be mailed reports with commentary, but that's kind of that middle tier. The top tier, from an analysis standpoint, is the more proactive piece, or the piece where we're working with the business on specific requests and getting less away from kind of the reactionary, hey, can you look at this, and more of a, what critical things should we be analyzing about our business to provide our business stakeholders with insights and information, so when they're making decisions on budgets, on product design, on strategy, that they have the insights that they need. And the strategy that I've worked with the businesses that I'm working with is start with the end in mind. What is the ultimate transaction point for your customers? Is it to book something? Is it to buy something? Is it to read something? Is it to subscribe to something? What is kind of the ultimate thing that you want people that are using your digital properties to do? Let's use that as our starting point and work backwards and start to do some core analysis on those critical metrics, the paths and the behavior patterns that influence those metrics. Those to me are like the three critical pieces of kind of core, I won't call it analysis, but core data insights and distribution that every company should be doing. But unfortunately, because we don't put the time in to be deliberate about doing those things, because we haven't set expectations with the business on what insights they can expect to get and when, then again, everything becomes an ad hoc request. Everything becomes a fire drill. And now the analyst is overwhelmed because they're getting hit up from marketing, from product, from IT, from security, from legal, like everyone's just piling on. We need something weird's happening here. Can you look at this? Can you look at that? And it's incredibly difficult to manage that workload. And furthermore, it's a road to burnout for the analyst. And ultimately, the business isn't truly focusing on those like core data needs that they have. And that isn't to say that the questions that are being lobbed over from the business aren't valuable. They are. It's just the framework in which we're evaluating them is broken, and the value that they could get out of answering those questions is greatly reduced because of that.